Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. As you can see, last night we got a really good rainstorm, the first one since early spring. My IBC container here is full right to the top, 1 full metric ton of water. My rain barrels are all full too, so I've got lots of rainwater. That's good. This summer has just been hot, super dry. I've had to water these trees 2 or 3 times every day, almost without fail for the entire summer. There's been hardly any cloudy days, so it's just been non-stop watering, which luckily I enjoy watering trees, so it wasn't too bad. But it was, you know, if you don't water a tree every day, it just dies. It hasn't been a good summer for moss either. You can see the moss on a lot of my trees is pretty brown, especially if we look at the larch forest here. You can see how the moss was turning brown, and now it's starting to green up a bit more with this rain. I had Jonathan and Amanda come by today, and they picked up some of those jade cuttings that I took off the tree last time I hard pruned it. I have a few of the jade cuttings reserved. I have one for Marisol Dealey up north, and I have a couple for Matt. So that's pretty well it. The only cuttings I have left are some of these smaller ones from that other jade I pruned up. In the forecast, there's a lot of rain coming this week, so I have my succulents, my Portulacaria afroforest in the greenhouse here, just to keep it dry so it's not waterlogged every time it rains. I've got my desert rose forest down here, out of the rain too. I've also got my yucca forest protected underneath the bench here from the rain to keep it a little drier. All my other succulent bonsai are here in the poly house. My Portulacaria afra cuttings, my baobabs, which are doing really, really well. All the jades. What else have I got? Some aloes in here. Lots more jades. My crown of thorns. Yeah, just to keep them out of the heavy rain. If you have them in the heavy rains, if you get like really humid weather, heavy rains for 3 or 4 days in a row, you'll start getting root rot, especially on some of these big thick jades. They'll start rotting from the base up. So the only thing you can do is cut off the good part of the tree and plant it as a large cutting. Once it starts rotting from the base, once the rot starts, there's no stopping it unless you cut it off and replant it. So here is where I cut these jades. You can see it's really healing over nicely. No problems. I can see a bit of swelling and some green where some branches are starting to form on them. So that's good. I've got some nice healthy figs on my edible fig. I'm hoping I can eat at least one of them. Last year they developed late in the season and they didn't really reach maturity and they just kind of shriveled up. But I think this one up top here will be the first one I eat. The bougainvillea is looking really beautiful. Nice and vivid, the flowers. That's just amazing. Here's a look at my 2 crown of thorns. So you can see the leaf size on my more mature one. They're very, very tiny. And then the leaf size on my new one, they're very large. You know, probably 4 times the size of the smaller ones. So I don't know, you know, if this one has small leaves because of the bonsai effect, you know, where I have multiple branches so the leaf size reduced, or if it's just a different type of crown of thorns and has larger leaves naturally. So we'll see as this one develops and grows branches. We'll see what happens with the leaf size. On my cathedral style cedar here, you can see the layer of natural moss that's forming down below. After those rains, it really greened up nicely. Just amazing, you know. You don't have to plant the moss. It just grows there naturally if you keep watering and fertilizing your trees. I just noticed a Japanese beetle on this tree here. So I'll have to feed that to the chickens. It's right there. So you can see it there. Nasty little things. My other bougainvillea also is covered in flowers. Sort of a pale purple flower. Really quite nice. I like that one. It's getting a nice, texture to the trunk too. Looking really cool. Summer is just over the halfway mark now. We're into August. So I've got to shift gears now. I've got to finish off my plant room. I've got to finish that all and try and make it a really nice plant room for overwintering the trees. And I've got to be able to fit them all in. So there'll be a lot of shelves and a lot of work to come on the plant room. I'm going to start the construction projects by doing the east troughs or the gutters on my greenhouse here so I can collect the rainwater from the roof. It'll be a lot more convenient having that cube filled right beside the greenhouse here. So that'll be the first project I start off with. And then I've also got to start selecting my trees for the KW Bonsai Society's fall show. So I usually bring around 10 trees to that show, so I'll have to pick out about 10 trees and get them all ready for the show. So that's what I'll be focusing on in August. It's going to be a busy month, so lots of work coming up. Here's an update to my Premna. It's doing really well after its root surgery and severe branch pruning. It's coming along quite nicely, growing new leaves in, recovering. And the cutting I took off it, that big branch I took off, is also doing well. So that's exciting. Everyone told me they root really easily, and sure enough, it's doing really well. The tree I'll be working on today is my guava tree. This tree was started from a seed by Young in the KW Bonsai Society, and I took it over as a very young tree, and it's developing quite nicely. It gets this nice shedding bark on it. I left it as a tall tree because the leaf size is, naturally fairly large, so I wanted to grow it as a fairly large bonsai. So you can see it is really large now. I'm going to prune it back in size. I'll get the tree on the turntable. And start the pruning. So right away I notice here I have a junction of 3 branches coming out from one spot. So here's that junction here. You can see there's a nice twisty branch here. I think this is a new shoot here, and I have one at the back. So I'm definitely going to keep this nice twisty one. And the one at the back is quite nice too. It has some ramification and movement. There's one growing straight up here. I'll take that off like that. And I'm going to take off this new one, keeping my dividing from 1 to 2. And then I can prune these ones back. So prune the tips back on them to the first set of leaves here. First set of leaves here, here, and here. And this one, I'll just let that one grow. So that makes that branch a lot more compact. So I'm going up the trunk now. I've got another branch here which is not directly over top of the existing one, but it's pretty close. I'm going to keep it for now. There's a set of buds here. I'll prune it back to there, and I'll see what happens on that branch. Same here. I've got a new shoot coming out the back. I'll just prune the tip off. That's going in a nice direction out here. There's one here that's getting too long. I'll prune it right back to the base here. There's a set of buds here. That'll make something grow out in a better direction so they're not so long and straight. Up top here I have a division of 1 to 2. I just noticed I have opposite branches here. Maybe I'm better just to get rid of this one and keep the one up top. I think I am. So I'll get rid of this one like that, and I'll take this one right off like that. That solves that opposite branch problem. Up in the apex here, I've got this thick leader divides into 2 here. I could prune out the middle one, and I will, so I get more taper and movement. So off it comes like that. I'll prune these ones back, making them more compact. Actually, I'm going to go back even further on those. And then I've got one coming out the back here, which divides into two. I'll just take it back also to the first set of leaves like that. And that leaves me with this branch over here now, which is quite a twisty branch. It's got a great cascade to it. So I'm definitely going to keep that cascading part. It's really, really nice. I'll shorten this one back up here. Just pruning all the new growth back. Then I'll stand back and have a look at it and decide what I want to keep and what I want to get rid of. So prune this growth back too. Like that, it gets it more compact back here. So let's look at the branch now. I've got one kind of growing back in, which doesn't look very good. I'm going to take that off like that. Keep it fanning outwards. There's a few stubs I can clean up in the middle here. I'm going to step back now and have a look at the tree and see if there's any branches I need to remove, if they're getting too long or not in the right position. So I think somewhere around here was the front of the tree. Here is a look at the tree from the distance now. So you can see it's still a very tall and spindly tree, but you know, someday it'll thicken up a bit. I'm not sure about I like the cascade branch here, the one that hangs down, but I'm not sure about the part on the top. It kind of interferes with the apex of the tree. That could definitely come off without any problem. It might make that one branch look a little contrived, maybe not. But I do think that has to come off. It's just too cluttered looking. So off it comes. Yeah, that looks better. It looks a little cleaner in that area. Now there's a lot of, branches that have no leaves on them at the moment that needs to fill in, but I think that'll do for now. I think that's got the guava pruned up. It'll grow for the rest of the summer now, filling in. I think that's a good step forward for it. It's been raining off and on today, so I wanted to keep this video a little short. I didn't want to get into any major repotting or pruning if it's going to pour rain. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.